Hi, welcome to 5 Minutes of Torah with the BI Rabbi. I'm Rabbi Adam Stein. You can see I'm in a new place. I was sending you some videos from Geneva and Israel. Now I'm here in sunny, blue skies, Melbourne, Australia. This, as many of you know, is where I lived with my family. My two boys were born here. We were here for 5 years before arriving in Vancouver. And we're going to be here visiting old friends and being around our old community. The synagogue I served previously, Kilat Nitzan, here is having a celebration, Hachnasat Sefer, a celebration of a new Torah scroll that was written for them. So great coincidence that I happen to be here for that. You can also see that they're obsessed with real estate here as well as in Vancouver. But they actually have the auctions here all the time, right on the street. This auction is on a Saturday. I won't be there. But you can see the whole listing right on the street in the neighborhood. Now, I want to tell you about something from last week's Torah portion and this week's Torah portion. Last week, Parashat Vayera, my Torah portion from my bar mitzvah, and it had in it a very special cantillation mark, one of those little symbols above or below words that tells us how to chant something. Ta'ameh HaMikra, or trope they're called. And one of them that looks, I don't know, sort of like a lightning bolt or something, it's called a shalshelet, from the word for three, because it goes up and down in a certain way 3 times. Okay, one way to do it is or even more complicated, you could go all the way up like a pazer. It's 3 rounds of something, and this is such a unique cantillation mark, trope, that it only shows up 4 times in the Torah. And out of those 4 times, one was last week and one is this week. So the one from my bar mitzvah Torah portion and our triennial reading of the Torah, reading a third each week, it just so happens that it actually popped up in what I was reading in my shul when I was 13. And it was Lot, the relative of Abraham, who gets saved by the angels who go to Sodom and Gomorrah. And when they're urging him on, Lot, we got to get out of here with your family because it's going to be destroyed. He's not really sure if he should go. He hesitates a little bit. And the word for hesitate, the word that's used here is vayit mama. So it's vayit mama. Very interesting. And in this week's Torah portion, it's Eliezer, or a guy, we think he's Eliezer. He's not really named specifically, but the head servant of Abraham's household, probably Eliezer, is told by Abraham, he makes him swear, after the death of Sarah, he makes Eliezer swear to go find his son Isaac, a wife, from way back where Abraham had come from originally, not where they live now, but back in his homeland. And he says, find him a good wife. And so Eliezer goes off on his journey, but as he starts out on his assignment, he says to God, God, I'm going to go and I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to go there to the well, and if I find a young woman who offers me water and offers water for my camels, she'll be the woman for Isaac. You might know this story. And it works out. He finds Rebecca. But why, when he starts out and has this idea and this scheme, or sort of maybe magical proposal, you might say, this is how it's going to work out, he tells this to God, and we get that shalshelet. And he said, Vayomer, and I think perhaps, I've always thought that because he's hesitating, thinking like, who am I? I'm not a prophet, I'm not God, I'm just flesh and blood. Who am I to really be coming up with this sort of miraculous scheme and even telling God I'm going to do this? So that's why he's hesitating. But Rashi, our most famous commentator on the Torah and the Talmud, and a recent commentator from the past few decades, passed away recently, Rabbi Asher Wassertiel in Israel. All of them, even Bartanura, famous commentator on the Mishnah, they all say that there's this other thing lurking behind. They suggest that Eliezer had a daughter, and as he was a servant for all these years, he wanted his daughter to marry Isaac. So maybe he was hesitating because perhaps he didn't want the whole scheme to work out. But maybe we can learn from him that if we think things aren't quite right, or we maybe have some of our selfish interests, we might want to move forward with what is right. Shabbat Shalom.